there you guys are. Just enjoying a little bit of rebel action today. Hope you guys are ready for another Friday 5-minute magic tip. Welcome back in, all you DPC rebels, all you resistance fighters. Just want to get a little Star Wars shout out since we lost Darth Vader's voice this week. Such a sad time and a great dude. So just join me for a quick 5-minute magic tip. I'm going to talk about employers, benefits advisors, and data today. We mentioned data some in the past, but I want to just check back in with you guys on that. We just finished up a 5-part series over the last 5 or 6 weeks talking about the basics of employer health plans. So if you missed out on some of that, go back and review some of those. Just some basic information about different words and phrases you might hear when you're working with employers and their benefits plans that you might want to learn about. So check that out. But today, focusing on data, I got this little tidbit from a social media hit that I was watching where a DPC clinic was actually propositioned by their advisor about possibly changing EMR systems, which was very interesting. Never really said what they were wanting about that or why they would consider changing. I suspect, as most people did, that it's related to data and what's something that they wanted to collect. So I just thought that was interesting. So I want to talk a little bit about data. So first of all, when you're meeting with employers, I talk about this in my book a lot too. Data is something that may come up, and the question, you need to just talk about that when you first get there. When you first meet with the employer, ask them, are they interested in any kind of specific data? What would be helpful? Why would they need that data? How could they get that data? What would they be looking for? What's something that could help them with their employees and their employer? So just talk about that up front. Bring it up front when you're meeting with employers. Let them know your limitations. Like, hey, we use this EMR. We have a limited amount of people and resources. So, here's what we can bring to the table from a data standpoint. Maybe you can give them some engagement data. A lot of EMRs will have that, where you can basically know, how many visits they've had, maybe text or emails they've had, just so they can see their people are using your services, which is really, really, really good and helpful. So talk about it up front. Find out what they really need. What does the employer need? What kind of information are they looking for? And then start thinking about other options. Can you do other little patient satisfaction scores? There's a bunch of DPCs that are doing patient-centered primary care measurements, which has been a questionnaire that's basically been validated over several different outpatient centers. So some kind of program like that, which you can ask questionnaires of your patients to see how they really feel like their care is at their clinic. Maybe that can be some helpful information, feel like that you can share with employers so that they can see their patients, their employees are getting the care that they really need. Also, claims data. We've been, as I did my 5-part series, we talked a lot about TPAs and PBMs and how claims are processed. And so the employers, self-funded employers, and the benefits advisors, they have access to all those claims. So they can look at the TPA, can give them claims data. They can see who went to the ER, who didn't, who went to urgent cares, who had surgeries, who's been hospitalized. Also PBM data on what medications are filled, how much are those medicines, who's taking the expensive kinds, and what kind of medications are they for? Is it for autoimmune diseases or cancers? They can see all that claims data anytime they need to and really get a feel of where the care is going, good, bad, and how their DPC clinics are doing. So there's information out there. I don't know necessarily they need that information from the DPC clinic because what we're doing is routine stuff over and over again. We're not doing billing and coding. So think about that in the with your working with employers and benefits advisors, and just work together. Sit down with the employer and the benefits folks and say, hey, how can we help you? How can we get the information that you need? And just let them know, what your limitations are. working in a DPC clinic. Most DPC clinics, it may be one doctor and one nurse, and that's all that's there. You just don't have the staff or the time to handle that kind of data. But work together and make a plan. And I think this is really be helpful as you move forward and you begin to work with employers as you continue to grow, get bigger, more physicians in your group. There may be other resources that can be helpful to help pull the data out of your system, but it's basically using the TPA and the PBMs is a really good way to do it, and it's how we've done things in the past to get information. So hopefully that's a good tip. So think about that. I certainly would not change any of my EMR or do anything crazy to my whole system just to work with employers. I don't think you really need to do that. If you have questions, you can hit me up at drshane at dpcmagic.com, drshane at dpcmagic.com, and love to chat with you. Just send me a email. We'll get together and talk. Hopefully I'll see you out there on the road somewhere. Got some masterminds coming up, other conferences coming up. So hopefully I'll see you out there and catch you out there. Until